Here we go.
So funky. Rock it like this.
In this tutorial, we're going to be covering some of the neat effects tricks that you can do in Cubase. And to show you an example, I've just got a rendered out stereo audio file here of some of what we'll be working on. So check it out.
Right now. Intro sound. Ready specialist. DJ Vespers.
So the first effects trick we'll be covering is how to create a really interesting wide stereo image. So what we're doing is we're starting with an audio sample, which I've got here.
Baby specialist.
And that's just a single stereo audio file. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to duplicate that file a couple of times. So we're going to create two new audio tracks. So we're going to select Add Track, Add Audio Track, and we are going to duplicate that track. And what we're going to do is we're going to copy the sample 2 times onto each of those tracks. I'm going to take my snap to grid off, and I'm going to align the sample roughly with the sample on the top. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to pan one sample hard left and the other sample hard right. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick the samples just a little bit out of alignment with each other, because one of the things that will allow us to create that stereo image is if there's the perception of the samples almost being in like a chorus or some early reflections where the samples are not playing at quite the same time, and you hear the reflection in the left and right sides of the stereo image at different points in time. That's the first part of the effect. So let's just listen to how that sounds.
Baby specialist.
You can already hear we're starting to experience that wide stereo imaging sound, but there's a lot more that we can do to enhance that, so there's going to be a couple of more steps. Next, what we're going to do is start applying some EQing and effects to dramatically change the sound of the left and right channels. So we're going to open up our hard left panned channel here, and we're going to activate our EQ, and we're going to trim out all of the bass as adding a little bit of a resonance curve here. And then we're going to switch to our right side, and we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it with the treble. And we're basically going to cut out all the treble of the track and add a bit of resonance to it, very similar to a filter. Let's just have a listen through that.
Baby specialist.
So again, we've changed the sound of the left and right channel a little bit, so it's continuing to give us the perception of an even wider stereo image. Now we're going to start adding some VST audio effects. And the ones I tend to like the most on the stereo imaging style of effect are Cubase's built-in modulation plugins. So we're going to go to our VST effects menu and insert onto the audio file under the modulation menu Cubase's built-in phaser. And with the phaser, we're going to increase the rate to 1/8 or an 1/8 note, because the sample's pretty short and we want to be able to hear the phaser quite distinctly. And we're going to increase the feedback just a little bit. Now the other thing that we're going to want to do is we're going to want to decrease the volume of the effects. So we're going to want to make sure that they're trimmed down maybe 3 or 4 decibels so that they're not competing for space with the center panned sample. Now on the left or on the right pan channel here, what we're going to do is, again, as an insert, we're going to insert it from the modulation menu, and we're going to select a flanger. Again, increasing the rate so that it's going to be sufficient rate to be able to hear it nicely on the short sample that we have. And again, increasing the feedback a little bit and ensuring that our volume is at about -4 decibels. So let's have a listen, see how it sounds.
Baby specialist.
So you can hear the left and right channel quite distinctly. You can hear the effects on them. It's definitely a more extreme effect than just the single audio file. So let's just do a bit of an A/B test comparison here to see what we've created.
Baby specialist.
There's the single stereo audio file, and with our additional effects to widen the stereo image.
Baby specialist.